Okay, we're gonna see how this goes. Got it. Done. Ooh, oh God, come back. Not gonna let me do it today. Got it. Oh, come on. Okay, so no reverse flip today. Let me see. Oh, there. Okay, I have no idea. All right, for those of y'all watching on the replay, there you have it. Okay. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to count you in. We're going to do 3 deep cleansing breaths, as always, to quiet the amygdala, the limbic system. Emotional regulation, breathing is awesome. It's also going to allow you to notify the prefrontal cortex and the remainder of the brain that we're getting ready to use it today in our morning mental workout. I'm going to count you down, 3, 2, 1, and then you're going to inhale and exhale on your own. 3, 2, 1. Okay. We're going to have to keep doing this. Okay. Got it. I don't think I'm going to be flipping no more because I don't feel like dealing with that. You two get it together this morning. Okay. Good morning. I am Dr. Donna Louise Thomas-Rodgers, daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and great-granddaughter of Levi Thomas. Welcome to your morning mental workout. And chat, I had to do some other stuff. I do not like this little white line around me because the background is black. Clearly, I had no intentions on having an orange background today, but it is what it is, and we are here. Next is make sure that you have some hydration available for you because your brain is 75% water. As a result, you need to hydrate because this is a mental workout. We are going to be going over a topic that was discussed in my neuroscience class by Kahal, and it is cerebral gymnastics. Yes, cerebral gymnastics. One thing I neglected to do was write my start time down on my notes. Okay, here is the definition of cerebral gymnastics. Cerebral gymnastics refers to mental exercises or activities designed to challenge, stimulate, and strengthen the brain's cognitive functions. Much like physical gymnastics or through strengthening your body, you're strengthening your mind. It's not a literal sport, but it's metaphorical for engaging the mind in complex, varied, and skilled building tasks. These activities can improve your memory, your attention, your problem solving, creativity, and mental agility. So let's get into it. So here are the key points. So let's define cerebral and then define gymnastics. So cerebral is related to the brain or the intellect, and gymnastics is exercising requiring skills, flexibility, and coordination. Combined together is structured or challenged mental activities to maintain or improve your brain's performance. So that is what cerebral gymnastics is. Now, the purpose is to keep the brain adaptable, and that's neuroplasticity. That's the creation of new neural pathways in your brain through the process of neurogenesis, where you create synaptic connections, and you strengthen that by continuously strengthening those neural pathways. Now, to strengthen the neural connections, and it promotes cognitive longevity. That means that you are going to be able to have your working memory and your cognition longer than if you did not mentally work out your entire brain. So to train multiple cognitive domains, you have to train your working memory, your reasoning, your pattern recognition. So basically all of the lobes within the brain. So here are some examples of cerebral gymnastics. Solving puzzles, learning a new language or a new skill. We all know that I'm studying neuroscience currently as I am also presenting this information to you. Playing strategic games like chess and Go. Both of those are apps available in both app stores. Mental math challenges. We know we do mental math on Thinking Thursday. Creative writing or improvisation. We also do that when I give you on Cognitive Thursday, Thinking Thursday, Cognitive Fitness, or Wired Wednesday, where you take a word and you turn it into an acronym or you make an anagram, word scramble. All of that is part of cognitive flexibility and cognitive fitness, and also cerebral gymnastics. And then next, good morning, Lola. And then it's also memory recall exercises. We know that in order for you to use your working memory, you have to tap into the synaptic connections in your hippocampus so that when you need a skill set, that whether it's something that you do every day or something you haven't done in a while, the working memory sends notifications to the hippocampus and says, hey, we need to cook a meal that we haven't cooked, or we need to do some exercise, or we need to use this skill set that you learned back in 1972. We need it today. Next is neuroscience basis. And so engaging in cerebral gymnastics recruits prefrontal cortex, so the executive function, the hippocampus for the memory, as I mentioned, the parietal lobes, that's for spatial reasoning, and the temporal lobes for language processing. And this repeated challenge strengthens synaptic connections. This is known as synaptic genesis and may delay cognitive decline. So what happens is your working memory is working. And then by the time you turn 35, it starts working on retirement. And by the time you turn 65, it's like, yeah, I'm retired. And so that's why you see so many things about people in senior living facilities or on their own, and they're telling older people, you need to do a Sudoku. That's what you need to do. But it's not too late, but the brain has been atrophying for 30 years. So in order to slow that process down or mitigate it to the point where it's non-existent, is that you have to be physically fit. And so I am 52 years old, perimenopausal. There are older women telling me you got to start exercising now, keep that bone density, calcium, and all of that, because once you go through menopause, all of that decreases. But I have been physically fit for the majority of my life, and it is just I lead a healthy lifestyle. But I'm also mentally healthy. So there are plenty of people who are physically fit and cognitively inept. So they can pick up 400 pounds, but they can't solve a problem because of the cognitive atrophiedness of the brain. And so that's the issue. So you are physically fit and you're healthy and you got green drinks and protein, and now a problem shows up in your life and you can't solve it because you haven't been mentally working out your brain. So cerebral gymnastics is the answer. That's why we do cognitive fitness on Thinking Thursday as well as some Wired Wednesday. So what questions do you have, again, about cerebral gymnastics? And this is way back with Cahal and Goji over 100 years ago, where this concept was first initiated. It's not attached to them. It's just a concept that has been around, and people are using it. Well, people in neuroscience are using it, but people in everyday life are not using it. So what questions do you have before I tell you about the brain regions that are involved in the cerebral gymnastics? And if it's clear, just type clear, and I will keep it pushing. Good morning, Mr. Hook. Okay. All right. So here are the brain regions for the cerebral gymnastics. And I would just like to say, ChatGPT and I are in conflict this morning. I am handling conflict when it occurs. But because school started back yesterday and all of the cheating students are back in full effect, yes, I can summarize the definition. One moment. Chat is giving me things that I didn't ask for, and I am telling Chat that's not what I asked for. So my graphics are not what I want them to be because we have been in a battle since yesterday evening. So we're gonna see how it goes today. I got more time today, but I am not a happy camper, especially now that I'm a pro Chat user too. So I got to retrain Chat. Additionally, what they saw in Chat was that there was a decrease in Chat usage in early June. And everybody figured it out because the kids stopped going to school. And so for us here in Las Vegas, school started yesterday. And so everything was slower and everything else. I'm like, y'all, ChatGPT 5 better figure it out. Because what I'm not going to do is not have the graphics that I need for you all. Additionally, YouTube is not being cooperative this morning. So when I keep switching back over for you to see the green screen, it keeps going to a green screen. So I'm going to try one time and then let y'all see it all at once, because flipping in and out is going green, then it's showing the background. So YouTube is glitching this morning as well. Yes, both of my apps are up to date. Okay, so in summary, Nola, for you, the definition of cerebral gymnastics is basically you are working out your brain. You are working your brain out. So it is you being able to be It's requiring cognitive flexibility as well as coordination and is skill development. So think of everything that we do on Thinking Thursday, and the reason why you're working your brain out is for cognitive longevity, so that you can use your brain as long as you're here. That's the objective. So you are extending the life of your brain, because the brain is a muscle. So the whole concept of use it or lose it is what we're working on today. So how can you, if you think about, if you go to a gym, all of the different workout machines that are at a gym, the same thing is taking place mentally. So strengthening your brain. And again, this concept came from Cahal way back in the 1920s, and it's how do we keep the brain fit? So let me know if I have clarified the definition for you or summarized it to the point where you understand it. It is brain workouts. Yes, ma'am. It's just a sexier term or not, a nerdier term. Okay. So cerebral gymnastics taps into multiple brain regions at once because it blends problem solving, memory, creativity, focus, and adaptability. And here is a neuroscience breakdown for the main regions engaged. Number one, the homie, the prefrontal cortex. It's considered the executive coach, and it's located in the front of the brain, behind the forehead. And the functions are in cerebral gymnastics is that it's responsible for planning, strategizing, and decision making. And it's holding multiple steps or rules in the working memory, and it switches between different types of thinking. So the cognitive flexibility. Next, we have the hippocampus, which is the memory librarian. I thought that was cool. It sits deep in the temporal lobes. And the function of it is this: it's storing and retrieving short and long-term memories. It's also forming new associations and mapping patterns, and it's navigating through complex problem steps. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the live, the people who are physically fit but are neurologically inept can deadlift. I saw somebody deadlifting like 800 pounds the other day probably over a week ago on TikTok, but can't solve an damn problem. So just because you are physically fit and healthy does not mean that your brain is following your physicality. Parietal lobes, the spatial and calculation center, and it's the upper back part of the brain. And its functions for cerebral gymnastics are mental math, which we all love over here, spatial reasoning and visualizing patterns, and it's integrating sensory input with reasoning. Next is the temporal lobe, and this is the language and pattern hub, and it's located on the sides of the brain near the ears. The function for it is that it processes spoken and written language, and it recognizes sequencing, rules, and auditory patterns. Next up is the ACC, and this is the focus regulators. Regulators mount up. It's located between the frontal lobes and above the corpus callosum, and that's that thin layer that separates the left and right hemispheres. And its function is sustaining attention and focus. It detects and corrects mistakes, and it maintains your motivation during mental challenges. All right, what's happening, Darion? Okay, cerebellum, the coordination assistant. And this is at the back of the brain under the occipital lobes, back here. And its functions are fine-tuning mental timing and sequencing, coordination in complex steps in your thought process. And finally, the basal ganglia, the pattern automator. And it's located deep in the brain structure near the thalamus and the limbic system. So the function in the cerebral gymnastics is this: it's developing fluency with repeated problem types, and it helps shift between thinking modes smoothly. And so what is the summation here? The summation is that there are 7 brain regions involved when you are doing cerebral gymnastics. That's 7 brain regions. So if you think about your body, if you're going to do a full body workout, you're going to do arms, you're going to do lats and slats and flats and backs, and I'm gonna work on my shoulders, I'm gonna work on my stomach, but I'm gonna do an upper ab workout, lower ab, I'm gonna hit the hamstrings up, the quads, the calves, and all these other. So I'm gonna do a couple neck shoulder shrugs and all of that. Well, The brain needs you to have that same level of motivation when it's time to work it out. And in fact, your physical workouts would improve because your mental workouts would improve because you'd have more synaptic connections. You'd have more cognition, you'd be more efficient, you'd have less brain fog, you wouldn't have a dysregulated emotion center, you'd actually have a regulated emotion center, and that would be well for you because then you'd be able to use your prefrontal cortex. So your workouts, your protein drink and creatine, all that other stuff that you're using would actually improve because your cognition would be improving. So it's better to choose a brain workout every day and then do 3 to 4 days a week of the other, getting in some type of physical activity up to 6 days a week. However, the brain workout is better than the other ones because, like I said, you could push a car, you could pull a plane and all of that, but now you got a teenager that's acting like a damn fool and you don't know what to do. You can't pick them up and throw them out the window every time. That's not a good answer. And that's still not going to change the behavior. Okay, so why do people avoid cerebral gymnastics? I'm glad you asked, Kevin, because people often avoid cerebral gymnastics because it's mentally challenging activities. They would rather pull a plane than read a book for a mix of psychological, neurological, and behavioral reasons. So here's the structure breakdown based in neuroscience. Number one, the reason why people avoid it is because of the cognitive effort aversion, the brain's energy saving mode. So the brain becomes consumed a lot. The brain consumes a lot of energy during deep thinking, especially in the prefrontal cortex and the ACC. So to conserve resources, the brain may default to automatic, low-effort routines rather than high-demand mental tasks. And we talked about that yesterday in what was, it's escaping me right now. Right, your screen time versus your reading time. And so we know that ratio is 30 to 40% screen time, with entertainment being the least amount, and then 60 to 70% reading time. So if you don't read nonfiction 15 minutes or more a day, guess what you're going to do? Avoid cerebral gymnastics because you don't have the mental energy to go above and beyond. You don't have it. You can't do mentally demanding tasks. You can't do 15 Duolingo lessons. You can't read for an hour. You don't have the ability to do it because you don't have the synaptic connections to get it done. So you're like, yeah, I'm not doing all that. Yes, meditation is considered a brain workout too because you can't focus. People who can't focus, you need mental strength to be able to meditate because of the default mode network and the left amygdala rumination. So what happens is the left amygdala just going to keep bringing up shit while you're spending time by yourself, and you're going to have mind wandering and daydreaming. So to be able to meditate is actually a mental strength. So for people who meditate, tell people you got a superpower because you actually do. Number two, discomfort with uncertainty. Now, the brain likes a challenge, but the brain also likes predictability. So cerebral gymnastic often involves ambiguity, trial and error, and risk of failure. We know that in Module 5 of my neuroscience course, I failed the test twice, but then the third time I got a 92.30%. So that was uncertain as hell taking that doggone test until I wasn't. And what happens is the amygdala can trigger avoidance with a task feel of uncertainty or threatening of self-esteem. So what happens is, oh no, you're already Dr. Donna. Why would you take neuroscience, girl? You already that one. What? You are a leadership expert. Why you gonna go over here and be a novice and a neophyte in neuroscience? People gonna think you stupid. You done failed that damn test. All of that can go through your mind until you pass it. But what the other thing is that we discovered when we were talking about synaptic connections and also cognition is that the hippocampus, the learning center for the brain, when you learn more challenging things, the hippocampus rewards you with new neurons. It's like, oh, you need a challenge? Here you go. Here goes some more neurons. It's like a neuron bank. Go ahead. I'm going to give you 15,000 more neurons. Here go 30,000 more. You need 1 million? No problem. But if you don't learn anything more challenges, the hippocampus is like, I ain't got shit for you. You trying to do that same old routine shit? You good. You got enough neurons for that dumb shit. Oh, you going to learn neuroscience? Bet, doc. Just pouring them in. I'm just going to getting taking out money, withdrawal, neurons, give them to me. And so that's why for the last 10 months, I've been able to present new information to you on a daily basis because the hippocampus is rewarding me. But if you don't want to look stupid, if you don't want to mispronounce dopaminergic for 5, 7, 10 times, you ain't gonna get no new neurons. So you just gonna be uncertain. Next is low intrinsic motivation. So without emotional engagement, the dopamine reward system doesn't fire strongly, making the task feel like a chore. So people are more likely to avoid brain workouts they can't tie to a meaningful goal or reward. They can't do it. I don't see the benefits. I don't know why you're doing all that. You already got 3 degrees. Why you ain't even gonna get a degree in neuroscience? Why are you doing that? Because my hippocampus keeps giving me new neurons and it feels good. But that immediate gratification that you don't get, if you think about it, if you have not been working out for a year, for 2 years, for 5 years, you go to the gym, you ain't about to see no results no time soon because you got that fat sitting on top of muscle and your cardio is off. So it's going to be a minute before you actually see some rewards. There you go, though. But you got to remember the why. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I have the potential to create 860 trillion synaptic connections. So I'm going to see if I can get them all done before I'm no longer here. Number 4, mental fatigue and cognitive overload. If someone's working memory, as I just mentioned, and executive function are already taxed because of stress, because of task jumping, or poor sleep, the brain resists taking on extra mental loads. So the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex struggle with fatigue, and this reduces the willingness to engage. So if you have not read a book, you are 40 years old, and you have not read a book in 18 years, your brain is going to be like, put that book down. It's no different than physical exercise because you don't have any new neural pathways in the mental strength to read that book. And it's called cognitive overload because you pick it up, you can't think because you've been doom scrolling, you have too much screen time, not enough reading time, and you already stressed because you can't solve your problems because you didn't solve your problems. Your working memory is depleting, and now you're sitting here trying to figure out why life is so bad. So you do what unaccountable people do, and you blame the government. You blame racism and sexism and ageism and these damn kids. As soon as these kids get out this house, I promise I'm gonna go back to school. Now, so you have all these excuses instead of fix you first. Your brain is the one that's atrophying, but somehow it's everybody else's fault around you. Absolutely not. That's some bullshit. Okay, negative past experiences. So if someone previously felt frustrated, embarrassed, or unsuccessful in problem solving, the brain encodes avoidance patterns in the basal ganglia. That's where your memories are and your habits. And over time, these avoidant loops become habits or habitual. So I have test anxiety, always have, even with Dr. Donna, still got test anxiety. So the first thing that happened to me on the first test that I took, thank goodness I got an 80% on that one and start failing the other ones because that could have deflated me momentarily. So I have test anxiety. It was 2 questions on the test. The first time I knew the damn answers to it, still put the wrong damn answers. I went back over it. I was like, but you knew these 2 answers. It probably would have gave me a 50%, but I damn sure wouldn't have got a 30%. And so what happens is that past experience, the left and right amygdala say, yeah, you know, you took the GRE 3 times. You about to take a neuroscience class. For real. You ain't take physics ever. And you about to do some physics? This ain't gonna work. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And the institution knows. That's why they give you 10 times to pass the test, because neuroscience is hard as shit. Let me tell you. Okay? But the past experiences will come up and shut you down. Yeah, you tried to start a business 10 years ago. Remember that shit didn't work? Oh, you trying to start a business again? This ain't gonna work. Okay, cool. Got it. Now in business, now you got to take Apple Pay and Google Pay and all that. You wasn't good taking money and credit cards. Now you got to take electronic payments. We'll see how that goes. Number 6 is instant gratification culture. And we don't really live in an instant gratification culture right now. Everybody can wait. I see people all the time patiently waiting at lights, patiently waiting in line, patiently waiting online, patiently waiting. We are we're just exhibiting so much patience. People are like, man, it's just so calm. Everybody's like a Buddhist monk. They're just calm and peaceful and reserved. Immediate gratification culture, we are in it 10 toes down. So the cerebral gymnastics is a slow reward, while entertainment, such as social media, videos and games, give immediate dopamine hits. We talked about it yesterday with screen time. That's why everybody has screens and everybody's addicted to the screen, because dopamine. And now I'm saying, well, read this book. You know what I'm saying? Read this. I've got this book, this neuroscience book, and it's about all of the people who got Nobel Prizes in medicine. So I'm saying, hey, read this Dr. Donna, don't watch the neuroscientists on TikTok. Read about the Nobel Prize winners way back from 1908 and forward. No, no one's going to do that. And so because of that, people are like, I ain't got time for that. I could just listen to the audio. I'm going to just listen. Is it on audio? Can I hear it on a podcast? No, because that's different parts of your brain when you listening and looking. When you reading, you are enacting a whole different group of brain regions. So no, you can't just watch the movie. And half the time the movie ain't the same as the damn book anyway. All right, number 7, learned helplessness or fixed mindset. So people who believe intelligence is fixed, I'm just not good at this, are less likely to attempt challenging mental tasks. And the mindset reduces neuroplasticity, drive, and motivation to train the brain. Thank you, Jessica. I received that. Yes, I do. In my hardest of hearts. Yes, ma'am. So again, these are the reasons why people avoid it. Number 1, cognitive effort aversion. The brain's energy is in saving mode. Discomfort with uncertainty, low intrinsic motivation, mental fatigue and cognitive overload, negative past experiences, instant gratification culture, and learned helplessness and fixed mindset. If that information is clear to you why people avoid it, or clear as it can be, I'm going to go over the brain benefits of cerebral gymnastics. So let me know with a thumbs up, a clear, no questions, and I will proceed. Wake me up on the other side. Can I repeat which one, Lola? The few last ones. Okay, I'll just go through the whole list. Number 1, cognitive effort aversion. That's the brain's energy saving mode. Good morning, Regina. Number 2, discomfort with uncertainty. Number 3, low intrinsic motivation. Number 4, mental fatigue and cognitive overload. Number 5, negative past experiences. Number 6, instant gratification culture. And number 7, learned helplessness or fixed mindset. All right, let's move on to the brain benefits. So brain benefits of the cerebral gymnastics comes from regularly engaging the mind in challenging, varied, and skill-building activities. So number 1 on the list is you're going to strengthen your neural connections, and this is known as synaptic genesis. And the regions are across the cortex, especially the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus. Now, here are the benefits. It creates new synapses and reinforces existing ones, improving communication between brain regions. Why does this matter? Because it makes thinking faster, more efficient, and more flexible. So because I am now studying neuroscience, even though I was Dr. Donna, and even though I'm in my 11th year of the book challenge and all the other things I'm doing, me studying the brain is making everything else I do better. My recall of information, my ability to problem solve, I'm high functioning, my vocabulary is improving, everything else is happening, and my brain is excited, and my hippocampus keeps rewarding me with new neurons every single day. It's just like, hey, let me fill you up. Let me give you some more new neurons. So that is why this happens. And quite frankly, I was at a point where I was almost bored. because I didn't have a challenge. And it's like, oh, you need some information. Here you go. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. I can tell you how to do that. I can tell you how to do that. I can tell you how to do that. And now I'm like, dopamine, shit. What part of the brain is that in? So I needed a challenge for myself. Next is it enhances your working memory and your attention control. And these are the regions, the prefrontal cortex, the ACC, and the parietal lobes. And the benefit is that it improves your ability to hold and manipulate information while focusing on relevant details. So you can take a neuroscience class, still read your other information, and still prepare for a live and hold all that information in your head. Because right now, remember, I got a tablet, I got a notebook, I got a post-it on top of that, and I'm still managing to moderate my own doggone live. And that is because of being able to be cognitively fit through cerebral gymnastics. And why this matters is that it boosts performance in problem solving, learning, and I'm actually going to use this multitasking because technically I'm task jumping, but I'll let the multitasking slide for today. So that's 4 things going on, adding questions, scrolling back, and still bearing in mind the time and everything else. This is doggone cerebral gymnastics at its finest. Okay, number 3. Boost of cognitive flexibility. Cognitive flexibility is located in the prefrontal cortex, in the executive function of the brain, and the basal ganglia has a role in this, and the parietal cortex. So the benefits are it helps switch between different ways of thinking and adapt to new rules or situations. I started out on TikTok. I've been on YouTube since January of 2025. And even as there are glitches with chat yesterday and today, YouTube, I am still able to be flexible and say, okay, well, here's what we're going to do because this isn't working, but this is working. And so why this matters is it increases adaptability in unpredictable environments. My live is an unpredictable environment. It is one, I don't know who's going to be here. I don't know what people are going to say. I don't know what part of YouTube is going to work or not work. So I am jumping in the ocean, feet first. Like, well, here we go. Press live and see what takes place. So definitely I have to be cognitively flexible. Next, number 4 is improves long-term memory. Really not? Did you say? So the regions are the hippocampus and the temporal lobes. And the benefits are that it strengthens encoding, storage, and retrieval of information. So we're going to put some information in, we're going to store it, and we're going to be able to recall the information. What I also think is interesting is that I have mentioned that taxicab study that was done in London for the taxicab drivers who had enlarged hippocampuses because they had a map of the city long before GPS in their brains. And I thought it was interesting that my professor actually mentioned that study when we were talking about the mechanisms for learning as far as it goes with where this learning is taking place. So that was pretty cool. I had already been familiar with that from some other research long before I started researching the brain consistently. So why does this matter? Is it enhances recall of facts, skills, and experiences. You all have experienced this. I have been on live. I've talked about a prior experience. I've given you some information. I'll even give you some skill sets and things that you need to do because of the cerebral gymnastics. Next is that it stimulates neuroplasticity, and we like that. We love some stimulated neuroplasticity over here, baby. That's like pulling out my Aunt Peggy's peach cobbler on the holiday. Like, what you got? Oh my God, you got some neuroplasticity? Yes, I'm here for it. Okay, and the regions is this the entire brain network, especially hippocampus. That's where you're getting them neurons from, and the frontal lobes. That's what they're saying. Thank you. Synaptic connection, synaptic, neural pathway. What? The benefits, it encourages the brain to reorganize and form new pathways. And why this matters is that it keeps the brain resilient against aging and injury. Anytime you're physically fit, people will say, well, if you weren't in good health, when I had my near-death experience surgery, they were like, well, if you were overweight, if you weren't in good health, this would take you 6 months to a year to recover. But it looks like you're going to recover faster. Got it. Roger that. Thank you very much. So it's the same thing. Strong brain is going to bounce back faster. Increases processing speed in the parietal lobes, the white matter that tracks, and the cerebellum. So the benefits are it improves how quickly you can understand and respond to information. So if you are a slow processor, that means that you have a slow processing system. Back in the day, we used to have 386 computers and 486s, and then the Pentium 1s and the Pentium 2s came out. And now everything is 5G, and oh my goodness, now we're gonna be it's the internet highway and all of that. But that shit used to be slow as hell. And now we basically in seconds, nanoseconds, milliseconds, you can get the information that you need. So it's possible up here. And I'd just like to add in this moment as well, AI is mirroring nothing but what the brain was already capable of doing. It's just machine learning. And that's what I learned in my class as well, is that they were studying the brain to find out how it operated, to turn it into mathematical equations so that they could write code for it, so that they could create machine learning. So it's not that the computers are smarter than us, it's that we train the computers to do it faster because of all of the other shit. So engineered out all them feelings and all that other shit and said, this is what's going to be able to happen. And it's AI, it's just my friend. And I know, because it took out all the other shit. It took out the amygdala. AIs don't have amygdalas. They definitely don't have feelings. They're definitely like, yeah, I ain't doing that shit today. I'm scrolling through social media too. None of the robots are scrolling through social media and all of that. So they don't have to eat. They don't have to sleep. They don't need water. They don't have to have anything taking place. They don't need downtime. They don't need vacation time. So that's why there was this interest in creating this machine learning, because they're not people. So the group found a way to still avoid fixing this thing that has the ability to have 860 trillion connections. Hence, that's where I come in. Okay? So it's not that we're dumb, it's that they took our learning and put it in the machine, but didn't teach us how to use the machine that they used to create that machine. Does that make sense? Got it? Okay. Where did it come from? The brain in mammalians, in mammals. Okay, roger that. So it increases processing speed in the parietal lobes, and white matter in the cerebellum. It improves how quickly you can understand and respond to information, and it makes decision making and learning faster. I can learn faster now than I could 20 years ago because of how many more synaptic connections I have, because I'm in my 11th year of reading a book a week. That's why I can learn so fast. That's why I can process information so fast, what appears to be in real time, because of me. When we're not on lives, I'm always taking information in. I got plenty of notes, plenty of notebooks, and I am reserving the right to get smarter at this point by the hour, should I choose to decide to do that. Next is number 7, strengthens the reward and motivation circuits. So the regions are the dopamine pathways. And so that's the ventral tegmental area, the nucleus accumbens, and the prefrontal cortex. And the benefit is it boosts intrinsic, and I'm going to use empowerment to take challenges. And that's why I'm in my neuroscience class. That's why I'm going live. That's why I've redone some of the things in the business. That's where there are 30-day challenges, because the brain actually does want to be challenged. And why this matters is that it helps build a positive feedback loop for continued learning. I am excited, even after failing the test, once I lick my wounds and keep it going, because it means that I did something. And now I know what doesn't work. And now I know why that answer was wrong. So now I can learn even better. So definitely there are benefits. So what questions do you have about the benefits of the cerebral gymnastics before I move on to the activities that you can do on a daily basis to, other than the morning mental workout, some things that you can just do on your own? Is this clear? Do I need to repeat anything? It's still a little hot. Okay, so the morning, and this is something that these are things that you can do daily. The morning is you're going to activate and prime the brain. Mental warm up, 5 to 10 minutes. You could do a quick logic puzzle, Sudoku, or Wordly. I'm saying that you should do. Yes, the brain is a muscle. Yes, ma'am. So I'm saying you could do Elevate or Luminosity for apps. I don't have any affiliation. I'm not going to get a dime. I don't have a code or anything. But in me using these apps, going back and forth with NOLA, those have more varieties of activities, and they can target what it is that you can do. And as always, you can do some Duolingo lessons. There's several of us on here that are using Duolingo. And the brain region is the prefrontal cortex, the parietal lobe, and the benefit is that it wakes up problem solving and working memory circuits. The one thing that I will say that I see in adults, and Noah has had over 2,300 appointments, and then me interacting with adults my whole life, is that adults do not have the ability to problem solve. And I'm not talking big shit. I'm talking day-to-day decisions. What's for dinner? Where are we going to put the chair? Where are we going to put how do we get the children to do what we want them to do? Just simple. It's this day-to-day that's kicking everybody's ass. Not big shit. People can solve doggone world hunger, but now at home can't figure it out. Can't figure it out at all. And it's because of this cognitive flexibility and this inability to work out day in and day out up here. Good morning, Sean. So mindful planning, you can do this for 5 minutes. Write your top 3 priorities of the day. Yes, you can set your intentions. And Regina is a yoga instructor, and we say that when we're in yoga, for those of you who have been or not, we are instructed to set our intentions for our practice today. And I am saying that you can wake up in the morning and set your intentions or your priority, your top 3 for the day. This happens in the prefrontal cortex and the ACC, and it improves focus and cognitive control. So if you say, here are the 3 things that I'm going to accomplish today, no matter what. If you are in the middle of working out and someone calls you, no, I'm in the middle of one of my top 3 priorities for today. Now it's afternoon, you're reading, someone walks up to your desk or knocks on your door. No, absolutely not. I'm in my reading time. If you're going to decide that you're going to have a healthy dinner or go to bed early and somebody's like, hey, can we? No. This is one of my top 3 priorities for the day, and I'm going to bed at 9 o'clock. And you make that those top 3 because remember, it's working up here. Next, for midday, you can have a deep cognitive engagement. Learn something new. Every day that you attend this live, you are learning something new. They suggest 15 to 30 minutes. And examples are read nonfiction. I tell you 15 minutes a day, read some nonfiction. Reading is fundamental, is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Learn a new language or play an instrument. And Duolingo even has, you can play instruments on Duolingo now. So you get Duolingo and you get a 3-for. Next, it's brain regions. And so it's the hippocampus, the temporal lobe, and the prefrontal cortex. And the benefit is that it boosts neuroplasticity and long-term memory. And so what happens is when you're in 20s and 30s and 40s, you're not thinking, I'm going to still need my brain when I'm 70. I'm going to still need my brain when I'm 80. So you don't plan for that. Everybody talks about retirement, but nobody talks about cognitivement. Okay? No one says, hey, I know you said you were going to retire at 55. What you got? What you investing in your brain? No one is coming around talking about a brain literacy. Everybody's like, financial literacy, get your 401k and you're going to put it in a Roth IRA and then you're going to put it in some mutual funds and diversify. Go ahead, get your franchise and all of that. You're going to have money, get your living trust and a will and da-da-da-da-da. And ain't nobody talking about if you're going to have the cognition to even execute that living trust. Or if someone else leaves you money, what the hell you going to do with it? If you ain't got no doggone neuroplasticity for it. Nobody's like brain literacy. Oh my God, it's an atrocity. We need some brain literacy. Nope, you're going to retire and be done and lose all your damn money that you saved while you still have some cognition. So it is strategic thinking for your long-term memory. Next, for strategic thinking, you can do 10 to 15-minute games. So you could do chess or Go or bridge. All of those have apps. I recommended Go. Is hard as hell. Go is harder than chess. Everybody's always talking about chess, and that's why when you hear me say Go, it's Go. Yeah. And the brain regions are prefrontal cortex, basal ganglia, and the parietal lobes. And it trains decision-making, pattern recognition, and adaptability. Now in the afternoon, you're going to have pattern and memory training. And this is a memory challenge. So when you get to the end in the afternoon, you're going to do 5 or 10 minutes. Recall a list of items from the day without notes. What is a list of things that took place? And don't pick up your notes from your phone, Post-it note, or anything else. And what this does is this is strengthening the hippocampus and temporal lobes. It's strengthening the encoding and retrieval pathways in your brain. Number 6 is reasoning practice, 5 to 10 minutes. You can do mental rotation puzzles, map navigation without GPS, and it will help the parietal lobes and cerebellum, and it enhances visualization and coordination. And sometimes we do this if we're going back to the same house. We will see if we can get there without the Post-it. As long as and some people, we've got the gate code memorized because we've been back so many times. Next, in the evening, you want to reflect and integrate. So for 5 minutes, you're going to write down what you learned or solved today. Write it down so you can see it, so you can read it. What did you learn and what did you solve? And what happens is the brain regions are the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus. And the benefits are you're consolidating your learning and it's improving your metacognition. And as a reminder, I had to relook it up. Metacognition is the awareness and understanding of your own thinking process. So it's you thinking about what you think about. And so I will be on lives and tell you all, I was thinking the other day, this is some things that I'm going to change, update, rearrange, stop doing. That's metacognition. I'm processing what I'm thinking about to make sure what I'm thinking about is what I actually want to think about. Something to think about, right? Okay, and then creative expression, 10 to 20 minutes. You can draw, you can storytell, you can improv, you can write some poetry, you can just do something that creates this, gets to the right side of the right hemisphere of the brain. And what's happening is the prefrontal cortex, the temporal lobes, and the limbic systems. And what this does is it encourages divergent thinking and emotional integration. So you got to strengthen all of the woo-saw soft skills side, because otherwise they will not be regulated and then they will pop off and act like damn fools. And then a weekly add-on to the challenges is you can debate or discuss topics with someone. You could try a completely new hobby or skill, and you can engage in problem-solving activities. So what questions do you have about the activities that you can do on a daily basis before I round third with what Dr. Donna has to say about cerebral gymnastics? Lola said clear. All right. So this is what chat said, and I love chat for this, is I asked chat about me and chat doesn't know it's me. So I said, does Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers have a perspective for cerebral gymnastics? And this was a decision that I made. I was doing metacognition, and I said, I know when I review a real leader principle, there should be something out there on the internet that chat can draw in and say, here are my thoughts. I took a risk, and now I said, forget it. I'm going to just ask chat, do I have something out there? And chat is either going to say yes or no. And chat, if chat tells me no, that just means I need to make something so that in the event I circle back, I can now have my own information. Side note, when in 2016, and it might have been 15, I read an article that said that hashtags were going to be Googleable way back then. That's why I have so much stuff on Google, because I was like, oh, this shit about to be Googleable? No problem, bet. And now what I'm finding is people that use chat are upset because what chat is going to do is anything that you share to someone, a link, is going to be searchable by Google. And so people don't want their chat searches. So they are on TikTok saying, I don't want this searchable. Let me go and click and make this so that it's not readily available. Up to you. But what happens is when I share my chat to my Gmail, now that is something that is now searchable. So when I started this yesterday, I didn't have the live set up. And then this morning I went back in to do some other stuff and I asked chat some more questions. And I did have this live set up. And guess what chat did? Chat said yesterday, I'm about to tell you what it said. And then today chat said something else. So here is what chat said yesterday before I set up the YouTube live. I couldn't find any specific references of Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers discussing cerebral gymnastics by the exact term. However, her morning mental workout video series clearly aligns with the goal of cerebral gymnastics, promoting daily brain engagement through neuroscience-based routines like emotional regulation, self-actualization, and objective thinking. So basically, chat is saying she didn't say it directly, but she does have something that has the characteristics of cerebral gymnastics. These sessions typically focus on activating various brain regions, cultivating cognitive flexibility, and reinforcing mental resilience, all core aspects of cerebral gymnastics. For example, she discusses key brain regions involved in concepts like self-actualization and objectivity. And we just did those lives recently, and outlines brain-based activities to enhance those areas. Episodes such as Morning Mental Workout Cognitive Fitness emphasize a total brain workout, directly mirroring the cerebral gymnastics that the cerebral gymnastics seeks to accomplish. So even though I have been saying cerebral gymnastics, I have actually been doing cerebral gymnastics under the guise of cognitive fitness. So here's a summary of her approach versus cerebral gymnastics. So cerebral gymnastics says daily brain challenges and stimulations. Dr. Donna has morning mental workouts targeting specific brain regions. Cerebral gymnastics says neuroscience-informed activities. Dr. Donna identifies the brain regions and uses science-based tasks. And finally, It enhances memory, focus, and flexibility. Dr. Donna talks about emotional regulation, objectivity, and cognition. So, in short, while she may not use the label cerebral gymnastics, her brain centered workouts strongly reflect the same principles. Everyday mental training aimed at enhancing cognition, focus, and emotional mastery. Okay. And so then they go on to give me some other information. And basically, they pull up a cognitive fitness Thursday. And in it, it says this is a total brain workout. So Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers explicitly frames the routine as a total brain workout, a daily mental exercise designed to challenge and strengthen the mind. And then cognitive fitness focus is related sessions. The morning mental workout, cognitive fitness, she emphasizes optimizing brain function through structured neuroscience-based activities. And then here are the summaries. They give summaries. Don't want to bore you with that. But basically, in essence, Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers may not use the exact term cerebral gymnastics, but her morning mental workout series embodies it. Daily intentional brain training grounded in neuroscience. This is coming from chat. This is coming from me, but it's coming through chat. So what does that mean? While I hadn't said anything about the cognitive fitness, what I did do was find it. And so what has taken place is, in this morning, I was going to get a different graphic and I needed a quote. And so because I had already scheduled the live, chat then went and pulled up the YouTube live and said, oh, here is some more information regarding cerebral gymnastics by Dr. Donna in less than 24 hours. That's how quick and fast chat works. So what is the moral of the story before we get into the brain bit? The moral of the story is this. I told you I was a bad mofo. No, that's not the moral of the story. The moral of the story is, even though I didn't know some of the technical terms of the things that I was doing, and I called it cognitive fitness, Kahal is the one who started talking about cerebral gymnastics, I have actually been teaching you how to have total brain fitness. And that is pulled in. Chat is not going to pull in some shit that don't exist. It just doesn't work like that. And the other thing, because of my metacognition, and because I'm not afraid to see if chat says, yeah, ain't no shit out there like that for you from Dr. Donna, I'm okay with that. Because anytime chat will, in the future, if chat says she doesn't have anything for that, that's the indication that I actually need to create that. So in the future, that resource is available for people to access through chat, through Google, or anything else. So this moment is I'm on the precipice of greatness once again, because nobody was paying attention back in 2015 to 2016 when they said eventually these tweets are going to be Googleable. Everything that you do, hashtag related, is going to be Googleable. Nobody wasn't paying attention to that. I said, bet. Watch how Googleable I'm about to be. You Google me, you'll be scrolling, images. It's a whole bunch of shit is going to pop up because of the decision that I made overnight almost 10 years ago. So the same thing is going to happen here, because people are going to start using AI searches for information. And when they start checking to see if I know what the hell I'm talking about, thank you to the organization that said my research isn't big enough or valid enough for you. Watch my smoke. Okay. So now I said challenge accepted. And that is the importance of actually doing things that actually matter long term, because that's what's going to be there for you. So what questions do you have about cerebral gymnastics before we move into the brain bit, and then go ahead and get on out of here for today? If it's clear, it's clear. If it's not, have no fear. I can make it clear for you. Make it clear as a bell. As Captain Sergeant Apple used to say, is it clear as a bell or clear as mud? All righty. Okay. Got it. We are clear. So today's brain bit, I want to ask you this question. Or this is what I asked the brain bit for chat, and I want y'all to answer. Have you ever walked into a room and forgot the reason why you entered the room? I have. So the question is, have you ever walked into a room and forgot why you had walked into that room? Sean said yes with capital letters. Okay, well, check this out. It's not because you old. And someone asked me this questions on Threads. I wrote it down and forgot to get back to the person, but I was clearing out some Post-it notes yesterday. And here is what happens. This is actually a thing, ladies and gentlemen. This common mental hiccup is called the doorway effect. The doorway effect, EFFECT. And it's not just you, it's neuroscience. Get the hell out of here. Are you kidding? Clutching my rural leadership pearls again. You mean the reason why you walk into a room and forget something is based in neuroscience? Get out. I told y'all everything is neurological. So here's what's happening in your brain. So the context shifts in the hippocampus. So the hippocampus helps you store and retrieve recent memories and context. When you move from one room to another, your brain registers a scene change, like turning the page in a book. And this can push your original reason for walking in aside while it updates new information. So it has been notified. You were in your bedroom and you walked downstairs to the kitchen. And now the hippocampus is like, oh, we're not in your bedroom no more. Oh, we in the kitchen. And now totally like, oh, we in the kitchen now. We're not in the bedroom. So then what happens is the working memory has overloaded in the prefrontal cortex. So your prefrontal cortex holds short-term goals. I came in here to get my phone charger. I came here to get a snack. But when you cross the doorway, new sensory input competes for attention, for the objects, for the lights, for the smells, and something displaces the stored intention. You came in here, I went to the kitchen to get a snack, and now I'm looking out the window at the rose bush. Because now I'm in the kitchen and our kitchen looks at our backyard. So what happens is the event boundary encoding. Your brain segments experiences into chunks. Passing through a doorway signals event boundary, making the brain treat the action before the doorway as part of a past event than the current one. So then what happens is retrieval interference. So the new room cues your brain to pull up memories relevant to that space, making it harder to recall the thought that you formed in the previous room. I'm going to go downstairs and get a snack. And then I go in the kitchen and now I see my library, the couch, it might be some dishes on the counter. I forgot to put the food in the refrigerator. And so I'm in a different event, different boundary. That's the past. This is the future. I'm in a whole nother setting, scene change. If this was a movie, you was in the bedroom and now you're in the kitchen. So that is why you can't remember. Have no fear. Dr. Donna's here. I got a strategy for you so this will stop happening. So how do you beat the doorway effect? Glad you asked, Lola. Here's how you do it. Say it aloud before leaving the room. I'm going downstairs to get a snack. I'm going to get my phone charger from upstairs. I got to go get a book off the bookcase. And then visualize the object or the task before and while you're walking. You're going down the stairs. I'm going to get a snack. Going to get a snack. Going to get a snack. About to go get some fruit. About to go get some fruit. About to go get some fruit. And then before you clear the doorway, pause. Okay? So now you're going to mentally carry over the intention. Got it? I'm on my way downstairs to get a snack. Before I walk through the kitchen, stop. I'm coming in the kitchen to get a snack. So to be continued. So I left upstairs. I'm going in the kitchen to get a snack. I'm going to get my phone charger out the car. Before you walk through the doorway to get to the car, I'm going to get my phone charger out of the car. You're letting the brain know I'm continuing the thing that I was doing when I left upstairs. Okay. I'm not going to look at the rose bushes in the backyard. I'm not going to sit on the couch in the family room and look at the stove. I came down here to get a snack. And that's what you have to do. So that doorway effect changes the scene. So now you shouldn't forget why you entered the other room. It's not because you old. It's a literal neurological thing that's taking place. Scene change, turn the page, new chapter. Okay. So that's what's taking place. What questions do you have about the doorway effect? And you're welcome. Amaze all your family and friends. They say, have you ever walked in the room? You're like, I don't forget nothing. Nope, not me. I got it all together. I never forget when I walk in the room. I know exactly why I'm in this room. I know exactly what I came in here to do. Especially if you got something in your hand too, you really confused. And if that thing that's in your hand don't belong in the room you about to go in, you're gonna be standing there for a minute. But now you're not. So just tell yourself, pause before you enter the doorway and go forward. What questions do you have, if any? And if you don't have any, go ahead and answer your 2 questions for the day. What did you learn today? And what did you learn about yourself? Jessica says, wow, so that's why you remember when you go back through the door. Yep. Because you went back to the other scene. You went back to the other scene. And that's why I was like, well, retrace your steps. That's what everybody tells you. Retrace your steps. Go back to you just basically going back to the previous scene. Rewinding it. So your 2 questions for today is, what did you learn today? And what did you learn about yourself? What did you learn today? And what did you learn about yourself? Tell you, the brain is amazing. Amazing. Amazing brain, how smart you are. You keep giving me neurons. I once couldn't think, but now I can, 'cause of my brain. And if you're thinking, go ahead and let me know. Little dot, 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 little brain, little emoji. And Jessica said, I learned that my brain is a big old muscle, and working it out is more important than I thought. Yes, ma'am. Kevin, today I'm sometimes in unpredictable environments. Nola is thinking, I learned that I don't have a problem holding ChatGPT accountable. I'm going to get the graphics that I need. Lola said, clear, lesson learned. I wrote it down. I need to go. Go ahead and have a great rest of your day, Lola. Nola said, I learned about myself. I need to do brain puzzles. Yes, they help. Work out your brain. And remember, I've said, ask yourself, brain benefit. Does this benefit my brain? Does this benefit my brain? And if it doesn't, it's got to go. Do you have a healthy brain diet? And what I learned is everything is neurological. I mean, everything is, you can tie it back to the brain. People say when crimes are happening, they say follow the money. I'm saying when people start doing anything, follow the neural pathway. Follow the thought process or lack thereof because of a hijacked amygdala. Follow the neural pathway. You're going to find out a lot. Noah said, I learned about myself. Okay, I saw that. Sean said, I have learned to say things out loud. Exercise the brain keeps you growing. Yes, ma'am. Nola said, I learned it's better to do more brain workouts per week than physical workouts. Yes. And Kevin said, myself, I'm often a victim of the doorway effect. Yes. And I was blaming perimenopause and old age and Alzheimer's and all that, old timers and everything. And it literally is a thing. Who knew? I didn't know. So that's amazing. It's 100% amazing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is all that I have for you today. Tomorrow is Wired Wednesday. Wired Wednesday, which is actually a cerebral gymnastic workout. So Wired Wednesday, tomorrow, you potentially will need a secondary device for Wired Wednesday. So if you plan on attending with a second device, because we usually watch things on the YouTube channel. My pleasure. Okay, so we have an appointment that we need to get to. I think I have covered everything today. You all, God willing, higher power in the universe, I will be back tomorrow for Wired Wednesday. Same time, same place, safe space, different brain t-shirt. You all go off and have a brain-tastic day and walk through those doorways confident that you're going to remember why you walked into those doggone rooms. Y'all take care. Adios.